I like the people I work with generally, with 4 exceptions. But someone committed a crime, and I did not become a Lackawanna County volunteer sheriff's deputy to make friends.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. We do our very level-headed best to be clear-eyed around here and to not give praise where praise is not due. For instance, there's a Pennsylvania senator named John Fetterman, who's not one of us. Just because he says something nice about fracking or oil or closing the border, like that's the baseline of being just a human being. That doesn't mean he's one of us. That doesn't mean MAGA should go support him. Doesn't mean he's a populist. He is still an absolute brain-dead lib, and he'd do everything he possibly could to destroy the MAGA movement, if he could, to pry Trump out of the White House, if he could. If you actually want to get the support of MAGA, John Fetterman, leave the Democrat Party. Become an independent. You don't even have to become a Republican. If you want to start with laying the bedrock for us to respect what you're doing, do that. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is with that we don't give false praise, all right? But there is this guy named Rainn Wilson. He's famous. He's Dwight in The Office. Of course, you know him. He also has been in a lot of Hollywood movies. He's a pretty famous dude. But, of course, best known for Dwight Schrute in The Office, and that's what he will. Sometimes you just play such iconic characters, you'll only ever be that. Mark Hamill will only ever be Luke Skywalker, as embarrassing and sad as that is. And Rainn Wilson, well, he's said some embarrassing and sad things. He's a passionate climate change campaigner. And he spoke out against Leonardo DiCaprio's hypocrisy. Climate change. I think that's very interesting. He was also slammed by Joe Rogan when he came after Oliver Anthony. So this is an interesting moment where Joe Rogan, with Oliver Anthony on his podcast, said, what's wrong with Rainn Wilson, millionaires attacking billionaires?
And then, take Dwight from The Office down to West Virginia. Take him through those coal mining countries. Take him through those places in Appalachia where people have extreme poverty and pills have ravished those areas. Take them through there.
And it's everywhere. Yeah, the sad thing is it's everywhere now. It's not. Yeah. It's funny. People right off the get-go, I guess because it was Radio WV that posted the original video, but
Axis.
Yeah.
There is nothing funnier than millionaires talking shit about billionaires. There is nothing funnier.
Yeah. So Rainn Wilson is, one of these Hollywood contrarians. Perhaps he says something that you agree with every once in a while, but the mask slips on occasion. Like here, when Rainn Wilson says, I never thought I'd say this, but I agree with Tucker Carlson on almost everything that he says here. What the hell is this? This is after Tucker Carlson was fired, and Tucker Carlson gave sort of an impassioned plea about what really matters in America and how fake the news is. I'll play you that in just a second because it's worth re-listening to. But Rainn Wilson is in the news now for doing the exact same thing, talking to left-wing MSNBC host Stephanie Ruhle. Rainn Wilson says left-leaning news has a passion and a poison against the Trump administration and is racist against Trump voters, and they should be ashamed of themselves. It's like a fascinating little back and forth here where Stephanie Ruhle, you don't even know who the hell this is, right? She's just one of those cringe and embarrassing MSNBC propagandists, gets utterly destroyed. And we, agree with everything that Dwight says here. Here we go.
When I see this kind of insight and passion being directed at the current administration and the lack of this kind of insight and passion being directed at the previous administration, where, again, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about left-leaning news media organizations were kind of like, la, 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 everything's fine. Look, the economy's great, la, 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 immigration's not that much of a problem. And really being Cleopatra, queen of denial. Thank you. Boom.
Rainn Wilson slammed left-wing media to her face. La, 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 everything's fine. The economy's great. La, 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 immigration's not that big of a deal. Cleopatra, queen of denial. Boom. Yikes. Rainn Wilson commended for critique of bias in mainstream media, but just to show you that it's so hard to actually praise or thank these people for anything. He posted on social media, The office star blasts Fox News for making him a MAGA hero. He says it was an out-of-context clip. You can always tell when the publicist steps in, right? You can always tell when there's like a publicist that jumps in and tries to rewrite everything. So he posted this on his social media. I guarantee this post won't make Fox News. Recently, I was lauded by right-wing Pravda billionaire-funded newsosphere for mildly pressing the brilliant MSNBC journalist. Right? You see how like it's the John Fetterman thing. He says one thing you agree with, and then it just collapses. But here's what I believe. I believe that these are like moments of senility. This kind of stuff is obviously his advertisers and his publicists and his agents jumping in to try and fix. You see this all the time. The agent jumps in and like apologizes and stuff, tries to fix everything. When the principal, either the musician or the actor, says something true. That's what's happening here. Okay. And that's why this was deleted. Okay, this tweet isn't up anymore. It was deleted. What was Rainn Wilson so proud of Tucker Carlson for? This, a video, an ancient video from 2022, lost to time, but you should rewatch it. Interesting times.
Good evening, it's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind and decent people, people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also, a lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are. They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me, as someone who's participated. And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all. War, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Both political parties and their donors have reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it. Suddenly, the United States looks very much like a one-party state. That's a depressing realization, but it's not permanent. Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain dead. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this. That's why they're hysterical and aggressive. They're afraid. They've given up persuasion. They're resorting to force. But it won't work. When honest people say what's true, calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink, and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.